To Jack Talk. I'm your host, Savannah Fields, and today we'll be talking about the outdoor program offered here at SFA, Habitat for Humanity, and the Pine Log. You won't want to miss any of it, all coming up right here on Jack Talk. Today we're here with Stephen Whitman talking about the outdoor program here at SFA. Hello, Mr. Whitman, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Now, I know you just got the job here at SFA in the Outdoor Pursuits program. How's that been going for you?
It's been going really well. It's kind of a change moving from a very large university in Florida to here at SFA. We're kind of a smaller campus, and so it's cool kind of seeing the different things that come about on a smaller campus, but it's also nice in that smaller environment as well, because everything's not as crazy as it is on a large campus. So.
Now, I know you worked in the outdoor program at UFC and UCF. How is it different from, how is that different from the SFA's program?
Yeah, so I went to school at University of Central Florida, and there I would say the program is very similar to the one here. We have a bunch of different program areas that offer different opportunities for students to experience the outdoors. And then when I was at the University of Florida, we were kind of half of what we do here. We had a rock wall, a challenge course, and then a very large lake facility for students to use. They'd come out and rent kayaks and stuff for free, and just have a good time. And then also on the flip side, use our rock wall, use our challenge course, and kind of get in the outdoors in a different way.
Okay, what about the one at University of Florida? Is that one different?
That was the one I just talked about. Was the one at University of Florida. The one at University of Central Florida, which was my undergrad, is very similar. We had a rock wall, a challenge course, a smaller lakefront property, a trip program, and a rental center that started my senior year. So it was kind of a project we undertook my senior year. It was kind of a cool addition to an already thriving program there.
That's cool. Yeah. Now, I heard that when you did your undergrad, you majored in criminal justice. How did you go from criminal justice to being in the outdoors?
Yeah, so that was a kind of a random jump, but I started off as an undergrad working in the campus recreation department at the University of Central Florida as a challenge course facilitator, and that's kind of where I started, and worked on special events, worked for their climbing wall a little bit, did a lot with their rental center, and kind of got some experience doing that, and that led to a graduate assistant position at the University of Florida, where I got my master's degree, and then also at the same time worked for their recreation department as well. So that was kind of more of an experience thing, and then the undergrad degree was more of that's kind of what I like to do in college, and I wanted to learn more about it, and just ended up that's not really what I was doing. So.
So, can you tell me, what is the day in the life like of an outdoor coordinator? What do you do?
Well, it's a lot of planning and a lot of organizing. We have, like I said, we have a lot of different programs that come through our Outdoor Pursuits office, and so I'm ultimately the one responsible for each one. We have a climbing wall where students can go into the recreation center. When you walk in the front door, you see it right there. And they can climb, they can learn to climb, they can be taught how to belay. If they advance far enough, they can take a lead class where they learn how to lead climb, which is just a different form of climbing, different belay technique. And then from there, they could go over to our Experiential Learning Center, where they can they can work with the group on team bonding, team building, communication skills, leadership skills, that kind of stuff. And then working with our trip program. We take trips all over Texas and all over this region of the country, doing lots of different things. So kind of balancing all that stuff is kind of what my day is like, planning trips, scheduling staff, working with staff, developing staff members and their skills, and much, much more.
So what is the hardest part? Like, what's the hardest part and what's the easiest part of the job?
I'd say the easiest part for me is definitely the staff. I love working with the people that I work with. They do amazing things. You know, it doesn't take, I might be their supervisor and their quote boss, but I don't really feel like that. I feel like I'm more of a mentor to them, and sometimes they help me out and they teach me new things too, and I really enjoy that interaction. So I'd say that's the easiest part for me. The hardest part, I think, is just staying organized. You know, there's so much going on here at SFA within Campus Rec, within our outdoor pursuits department. So I'd say organization is key, and that's kind of where, that's probably my biggest struggle for sure.
Is that different from the being at the University of Central Florida? Like, is there more to do? Even though it's small, a smaller campus, is there more to do than at a bigger campus?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it overall. We offer the same programming and same opportunities for students. It's just on different scales, you know. When both the universities I worked at in Florida were 50,000 students plus. You know, I think UCF was up to 56 at one point. So lots of people all vying for the same resources and the same activities. And here I think it's a little bit more low key and more laid back sometimes, and it's not as stressful, I think. So, but I still think it's great that we still offer the same experience, the same opportunities for students as a institution much bigger and funded a lot more. So.
Okay, that's cool. And online I saw that you guys go on trips. What type of trips do you guys go on?
We do a variety of trips. Most of them take place in Texas somewhere. I think this semester we're taking one trip up into Arkansas. We're taking a climbing trip, but we do a backpacking trips. We do climbing trips. We've done mountain biking. And then also recently, the past 3 years, we've been offering a Leave No Trace certification course, which is a nonprofit organization out of Colorado who kind of established an ethic of working and living in the outdoors. And so a lot of our forestry students here on campus actually can use that certification to get themselves a job after they graduate. So we've offered that certification every semester so far that I've been here. So that's kind of a new opportunity for us too. And then in regards with that, we also use those ethics in our other trips. So just because you go on one of our trips and you're not on the Leave No Trace trip, you're still going to learn about Leave No Trace, because that's how we try to live and be sustainable in our outdoor environment that we support.
Okay, that's cool. And really quick, can you tell the viewers how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, if you go to the Campus Recreation website, you can see everything that our program offers. And then if you go to the staff contact page, you can scroll down and you'll find me, my phone number and email address.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. So you heard that, guys. Well, it's great having you on the show, and I appreciate you stopping by. Coming up next, we're not done with talking about the outdoors just yet. You're not going to want to miss it. All right here on Jack Talk. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. I'm Brianna Cole. Today we'll look at how some selfless individuals help out the Nacogdoches community. Let's take a look.
The Nacogdoches branch of Habitat for Humanity has obtained a new operations facility to better accommodate a larger amount of home restoration projects it plans to take on in the future. This well-established national service organization is based on the core belief that every man, woman, and child should have a safe, decent, and affordable place to live. People from all walks of life, many of whom are SFA students, volunteer with Habitat for Humanity in order to improve the living conditions of those in need.
You're getting your pictures.
Volunteers sacrifice their Saturday morning to participate in an interior painting project on West Main.
Well, we're here and we're doing service for Gamma Kappa Omega. We're painting the house, the inside of the house.
Volunteers like Ashlyn serve with Habitat for Humanity for a fun way to obtain community service hours. They also feel called to be a part of helping those in need.
I was like, you know they're not going to take me. I know, but I don't like having dogs. Gotcha.
Oh, because people need help, and it's horrible. Like if you're not going to help people, and I feel like if you have extra time on your hands and you're not going to use it, you should definitely use it to help people.
Reporting for Jack Talk, Daniel Carnefel.
To give us some more information about Habitat for Humanity, the Executive Director, Mickey Lynn, is in the studio with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Brianna. It's good to be here.
That's good. So tell us some history about Habitat for Humanity.
Well, Habitat for Humanity in Nacogdoches has been here for a little over 20 years. This is our 20th anniversary year. And it is seeking to build houses in partnership with low-income families. It's not a handout, we say it's a hand up. It's a way for families to get into a home that might not otherwise be able to do that. We have a lot of activities that happen in addition to that, but the primary focus is to try and end poverty housing one family at a time.
Habitat for Humanity is a national nonprofit organization.
It is a national, it's actually international. They build houses around the world, but each affiliate is a separate entity. It does its own fundraising locally, uses its own people, and sort of sets its own sail a little bit. So we have the network of a large organization, but we're still very independent.
How did it get started in Nacogdoches?
In Nacogdoches, there were some folks with some area churches that really wanted to make a difference, that had heard of Habitat for Humanity and wanted to see that happen in this community. And it took them several years to get the nonprofit status, to get the base of volunteers together to get that done, and of course raising money, always a challenge. But that took them a couple of years to get started, and it's been going strong ever since.
Where do you think the poverty line in Nacogdoches stands today?
Well, unfortunately, that's a shifting number, and it's going up a little bit. It costs more today than it did yesterday, and will continue to do so. And Nacogdoches has a special challenge because the age of the housing in this community is getting to a critical point. A lot of houses were built in the 40s and 50s that are now, they were once nice homes and they're now not so nice.
Bad condition.
So even the number of good houses that are available is sort of dwindling. So it's a problem that's growing for us.
As the executive director, what do you do day in and day out?
Well, it's a challenging and varied job. Some days I'm writing grants, other days I'm lucky enough to work with the volunteers, actually swinging a hammer, and some days I'm sweeping the floor. It's just whatever is needed in that particular day. We're a small staff, so everybody has to do a lot of different things.
What does it take to keep the organization going?
Well, we have our construction arm, and we have one part-time paid employee there who keeps the volunteers busy on the construction sites, and we have a restore which helps us raise money, and that takes a lot of staff to keep open. And then we have the regular operations and the reporting and things of that nature, and that's really more of my focus.
How does the volunteer service work?
Any group or individual is welcome to volunteer. We do not look for a specific kind of person from a demographic or walk of life, or even if they have any skills. We are very open to volunteers who want to give their time. We will train them, give them the opportunity, because there are so many different activities. There's something for everybody. So a volunteer group or an individual can just call us, schedule a time, and we'll make that happen.
Who usually comes in to volunteer?
You just never know. We have retirees who have some extra time on their hands, all the way down to youth groups and children that would like to give a little bit of time. We have to work around some age limits, but we try to be creative to be open to everyone. And for us in this town, the university has been an amazing resource for all kinds of help and all types of creativity. And so we're very much in debt to SFA for the service that they've put in with us.
That's great. So can you tell me an example about a specific family that something that they were going through and Habitat Humanity helped them?
I can. The very first family that I worked one-on-one with came in at one point in their life. They had some struggles with their finances that took them about 6 months to a year to get resolved. And because of the way Habitat for Humanity works, we were able to work with them. We were able to pair them with some volunteers who got them some help to reconcile their situation and get them back on their feet, and they're now doing well and thriving, and the children of that family are growing and thriving, and it's a marvelous thing to see.
Does Habitat for Humanity help out they keep in touch with all the families that they help?
We try to. All of the families are invited back to our events and activities. They are welcome to be as separate from us as they would like, but also as much involved with us as they would like. And many of the families are still very, very close to our day-to-day operations.
Dream Builders is an organization on campus. Tell us how they work with Habitat for Humanity.
Well, Dream Builders is an organization. It's an on-campus affiliate, if you will, and they come out several times each semester, working on our construction site, working in our restore, doing fundraisers, helping us raise awareness, which is incredibly important. And they have an event each year where on campus they stage awareness for homelessness.
Y'all just moved to a different location, right?
We are still in the process, and it's an exciting time because there are so many options available now. But we're still very much in the mess of moving, and we've had a great outpouring of support from the university and the community and the help of moving to the new location. We're going to be fully open in that location starting on March the 4th, and we're very excited.
Well, can you tell us how we can contact you if we want to volunteer?
Absolutely. You can call 936-564-3538, and we're very busy, so you may have to talk to the machine, but leave us a message, and we'd very much love to find a way to connect.
Okay, thank you very much for stopping by. That's it for this segment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Jack Talk. I'm your host, Chaz Rockmore, and here with me today we have freshman Dalton LaFernie, who's opinions editor as well as webmaster of the Pine Log. How are you doing today?
Doing good, thank you.
Okay, and Dalton, just give us a little introduction about yourself.
I'm a freshman here, like you said. I'm a journalism major, but I think I'm going to switch to philosophy because I don't think I need a major in journalism to be a journalist, which is what I want to do, and I think that philosophy will enhance my writing a little bit and just give me a different perspective. I've been writing for the Pine Log since the second day of the fall 2013 semester. I was staff writer, and then this past semester I've been promoted to opinions editor. I write the editorials and things like that and design page 5 usually, so check that out. And I actually got stuck with the job of webmaster, so I have 2 jobs like that. So.
And so you're the opinions editor now, so how did you actually go about getting that position?
Well, John Cleveland, my predecessor, he graduated, and Emily Jensen, who was the copy editor before she graduated, editor-in-chief Cassie Dickerson, she came to me and offered me either one of the jobs, and so basically I got to choose, and I decided that doing the opinions would just help me grow a little bit more as a journalist and a writer.
And being a freshman and an editor, do you get any scruff about that, being the youngest one?
No. In the newsroom, we're all pretty much vicious towards each other anyway. But as a freshman, no, I don't think so. I think we're all on the same page. So.
And where does your interest for journalism come from?
Actually, I've only been doing this for just a little over a year. I took a psychology course in high school, and the newspaper advisor there was the teacher for that class, and she saw my writing, so she pulled me on staff, and I just love everything about it, and just the deadline and writing and meeting new people and stuff like that. So.
Okay. And do you have any special focus when you write?
No, I think if you can call it a specialization at this point, but it'd be news writing. I love to report and investigate things like that, but yeah, news would be my focus.
Okay. And you've already made it to editor as a freshman. Do you have any other goals or short-term, long-term goals for the Pine Log?
Yeah, short-term would be for the opinions page. I want to make the topics of discussion on the editorials and things like that more worldly and less secular, because as this is a practice, working for student publications, it's a practice, but we're also preparing and building our portfolio. So my short-term goal would be to, have our readers thinking a little bit more and being more involved in bigger issues. Long-term goal, which I think it's normal for everyone, is to be editor-in-chief within the next couple of years. So.
Okay, and I read a headline, "Generation clings to mediocrity and laziness." What's that about?
That was just me. It was honestly a last-minute column because I missed my deadline. But it's just talking about our generation, Generation Y, and how kind of our activities and our shortcomings and things like that.
And what kind of feedback do you get from your articles, if any?
Actually, even though it's just a university campus newspaper, there is some feedback. The city of Nacogdoches, I wrote an article about the Fredonia closing, and the city of Nacogdoches gave their feedback. There's on the website, people can comment and things like that, and even I've gotten feedback from students and things like that. So they're positive and negative. Here lately with the editorials, I've been getting negative feedback, but it's what happens when you write a good editorial.
And tell us about TEDx SFA.
Yes, that same column that you were talking about, last semester I wrote that, and a friend of Mark, who runs TEDx SFA, he read it and told Mark about it. Well, Mark reached out to me and asked me to speak at TED. It was a cool experience. I'm a big fan of it. Very educational and things like that. So it was actually an honor to get to speak and with the esteemed guests that were there.
Yeah, because I've seen like a lot of people with PhDs, like
Yeah.
longtime college professors.
Right.
So you talked about us being lazy. Like, give us some more insight of that. What can we do to fix that, or where did that stem from?
Mainly my conversation, my talk was just some of the causations that shaped our generation. Pointed out that standardized testing has a lot to do with it. It's very detrimental to our thinking process, and I moved on to talk about our success in the 90s as a country that made us kind of complacent, and then as children or as young kids we were told that everyone's a winner and things like that. So just some of the things that you would think that are minor but kind of shaped us to be how we are.
Okay. And so that's already you being noticed from your articles. Is there anything else that you've been noticed for, like any upcomings?
I did sports mainly last semester, and I worked closely covering games with sports editor over at the Daily Sentinel, Kevin Gore, and he said when soccer season comes around, he needs a guy, and he asked me to write a beat for soccer, so I get to do that. I'm also looking for internships and things like that. And then upcoming in April, I get to go to the NCAA Final Four with sports editor Jordan Moss at the Pine Log, and get access to the athletes during practice, meet some of the nation's sports journalists, and compete for a $1,000 scholarship. But yeah, there's a lot of feedback, and people actually do respond, especially when you make them angry. So.
Okay. And would you say SFA has opened up doors for you, like besides going somewhere else?
Oh, definitely. My first options to go to college were, the UT, A&M, all that stuff. But I'm glad I came to SFA because we're really preparing, to go out into the real world. And SFA has allowed me, especially with student publications, which is my thing, have allowed me to go different places. Last semester I went to cover a professional soccer game. Clint Dempsey was in Dallas. I got to do that. I got to go into the locker room, do all the press things and stuff like that, meet him, interview him. And yeah, like I said, the Final Four coming up, I get to go there. So yeah, and just to be published and in practice. So.
Okay. Great. Well, I thank you for coming. That's all the time that we have for today. Make sure that you guys continue to stay tuned into Jack Talk. See you next time.